Most of the times when we say I'm poor, I'm broke, or I have no money, most of us, we don't really mean it. But have you ever wondered what life is like for someone who is poor? According to the Census Bureau's 2018 poverty threshold, you have to be making less than the following amounts to be considered living in poverty. In 2017, about 12.3% of the United States population, or about 40 million people, were considered to be living in this poverty level. And despite all the government assistance program, charities, and organizations created specifically to help these poor communities, most of them aren't able to break free of their poor situation and continue to live in dire financial situations. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the various obstacles stacked against the poor community and how being poor ends up being more expensive in the end. First, let's talk about jobs. Depending on your educational level or opportunities, you might only be qualified to work the minimum paying jobs. So because the work doesn't pay you that well, I believe the federal minimum wage is about $7.25, you need to work multiple hours if you're trying to make ends meet. That means you might work 50, 60, or 70 hours working multiple jobs full time, which leaves you little rooms to look for other opportunities and to grow, and by educating yourself and building up your credentials to get a job that pays you a bit more. We all know that time is money, and let's say if you don't have a vehicle, a lot of time will be wasted on public transportation, waiting on buses and waiting for the train. And because I work in New York City, I know firsthand how long it typically takes because of traffic and also train delays and buses delays as well. So by not being able to afford a reliable transportation, you're forced to rely on public transportation, which basically drags out and takes way longer for you to get to where you need to be. And also, if your apartment or a house doesn't have a laundry facility, you're going to have to go to those local neighborhood laundromats where you might be waiting for hours for your clothes to be cleaned. But having a washer and dryer in your apartment or house is a luxury. For most poor people, they're not even able to come up with a security deposit to find a place to rent. And if that's the case, what options are there for you to live with you and your family? For most people, it might be those seedy daily rate motels, which are not really in the best of neighborhoods. So not only is it not safe, but if you add up the daily rates that you're paying, it ends up being way more than what it would be if you had an apartment to rent monthly. Food is another large expense for these poor communities. They're essentially food deserts where affordable, nutritious foods are hard to come by without reliable transportation or infrastructures. As a result, instead of being able to go to a local grocery chain like Walmart or Costco, you might have to go to your neighborhood deli where prices of local produces and milks and eggs are way more expensive than these local grocery chains. However, even if you do have a local grocery chain nearby, depending on where you shop, the prices of items differ greatly. For example, my local Acme store, there's this product called Muscle Milk. It costs $27 at the Acme, but at my local BJ's, if you go to the same exact product, costs $17. That's a $10 difference for the same product. And even though you might have a local BJ's or Costco, where you might be able to save money by buying in bulk, how are you going to take those home if you're relying on buses or trains? And most of these warehouse clubs, they require annual membership, which might not be readily available for if you're poor. And even though these neighborhoods might be essentially food deserts, they always have a fast food chain nearby. So even though McDonald's, Burger King, or Taco Bell, they might be cheaper and feed the family and they'll be able to stretch your dollar longer, the long-term health consequences of constantly eating fast food is going to add to the financial burden of when you are much older. Same goes for fashion. So let's say you have a job interview and you have to buy and update your wardrobe. You might be only able to go to those fast fashion places like Forever 21 or H&M, where t-shirts are $3 and jeans are $10. And they're great. You're going to be able to buy more for your money. But they're typically made from fabrics that are less than ideal. And after a few washes, they're just going to wear and tear and shrink much faster than if you're able to save up and buy more quality clothing items. But let's say you have at least a little bit of money. But just because you do, doesn't mean you're in the clear. One of my bank accounts is with Bank of America, and they have a lot of unnecessary fees that are going to be very costly if you're not careful. For example, they charge a $12 monthly maintenance fee just to keep your bank account. Another expensive fee that banks typically charge is the overdraft fee. If you take out more money than you have in your bank account, you're slapped with a $35 charge. And if you lose a card or a debit card, in order to replace them costs about $5 depending on your bank as well. And if you decide to use an ATM that's not affiliated with your bank, it might typically be about $2.50 per transaction. I'm going to do a video of all the different fees that banks are charging you, so stay tuned for that as well. If you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more videos like this. In addition to the financial impact, being poor is going to affect you psychologically. Because of your situation, you might not get the motivation or the desires to better yourself, because looking around, your family has been poor and you yourself is not in a good situation, and of course you're trying hard to get out of it, but because of everything that's stacked against you, you might not be able to push yourself and try to get out of the situation. As a result, the biggest loss that happens from being poor is the mentality that you end up fostering. Of course, we hear of those inspirational rags to riches stories, but they're very few and far in between. A majority of poor people stay poor because that's the environment that they grow up in. Their friends are poor, and because everyone is in the same situation, they don't have anything to compare themselves to and to aim for. If you grow up and you live in poverty, you're constantly surrounded with negativity and the scarcity mindset. Drugs and alcohol might be the norm, and you might be able to get better access to these things because people are just trying to escape their reality. But let's say you're motivated and you want to learn and you want to make money and you want to grow rich. But honestly, who are you supposed to ask or reach out to? You might be trying to save for school and further your education, but your friends and family might not be as supportive as you'd like or need them to be. As a result, instead of people taking the necessary steps to go to the next level, a lot of poor people buy lottery tickets, $10 here, $20, $30 here, essentially flushing it down the toilet because, as we all know, the odds of winning the lottery is very, very low. But let's say you're one of those lucky people who end up winning the lottery and you come to possession of a large lump sum of money. But what do you do with that? Do you know how to manage your money? If you're never taught money management and you don't know what to do, how are you going to know what to do to make sure this windfall lasts forever and is able to impact your life and also your future generation's life? As a result, most people who end up winning the lottery end up losing it and end up in a worse situation than they are to begin with. Predatory people come and reach out to them saying, hey, I need help, I need some money here and there, or you might get death threats because everyone knows that you just came into this large sum of money. Yes, this video isn't the most happiest of videos, but I hope a lot of the things that I mentioned opens your eyes and makes you realize what the poor population goes through on a daily basis. And I hope this video kind of makes you appreciate your situation. It might not be where it wants to be, but we should all remember that it can be a lot worse. And there's always someone out there who has it a lot worse than we do. I'm sure I missed a few things about how being poor ends up being more costly. So if there's anything I missed, make sure you add to the conversation by commenting below. As always, don't forget to show your support by liking my videos. And if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe for more shenanigans coming up soon. Thank you so much, and I wish you a great day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright guys, bye!